instance. Okay, this is same. Plus you should have NQ work process. You should have that. Plus spool work process, NQ work process, update work process, all of them you should have in addition to this. And also it should have a message service. So message service, NQ service, updates, NQ work process, spool workers, update work process, all of them are part of central instance. It also has gateway service, as usual. Which one starts all the work process? Which one starts all the work process? Dispatcher starts all the work process, right? So normally message service should start before dispatcher starts. Then dispatcher starts and then start the work process. So if message service doesn't start, nothing will start. Okay? So this one is first start, second, then third. Okay? And also, like whenever a person logs in, say he is coming to this machine and his request is going to the work process. So what is the guy's name? Okay, Donatus. What is his password? ABCD. How will this SAP system authenticate him? How can the SAP system authenticate him?
User ID, password.
So I have to check his user ID and password. How will I check? Work process memory. Work process has a memory, but it doesn't have that information. I will draw work process bigger here. This work process has a small area, a memory area. Right? I told it has 3 components. But when the request comes here, when this request comes here, the work process, how does the work process know this guy Donatus is a valid user and his password is valid for this user? So we have to have Donatus's information saved somewhere. It has to be saved somewhere. So that area is called database. So apart from presentation layer, application layer, we should have another layer called database layer. So in that database, we will have this guy's information. So Donatus' name is there in a table and his password is also there. Right? So and also his authorization objects are there. And authorization objects and authorizations. So Donatus' name, password, authorization object information, and authorizations for the authorization objects, that information. Thousands of authorization objects, thousands of authorization, 10,000s of authorization for those thousands of authorization objects. So all this information has to be loaded into the memory. Don't you think so? Not only name and password, because after that he is going to do something immediately. So why not I load everything, right? So I load everything
What is
from
the
here.
before password? What is that?
Pardon?
What is the before password you wrote?
Donatus password, authorization objects.
Objects.
Yeah, you forgot my name maybe? So all this information is loaded. Okay. Now I know, oh, this guy, Donatus, so his password is good. Oh, these are the authorizations he has, authorization objects, and these are the authorizations he has for the objects. Okay, for example, I have access to this room. So all these computer objects will be, information will be loaded. And what authorizations I have for them. Or I can open the laptop, I can start typing, I can print, I can do all those things. So those informations will go to my head, right? Later, if somebody else give me more authorizations, they have to do something so that this will be updated again, right? While I have logged in, somebody is changing my permission authorizations, so it won't come here automatically. So he has to do something, then it will come. That's why they do something called user comparison. After changing the authorization of a user, then that information also will be loaded and it will check this and it will update that information here. Okay. So now I know I have Donatus, his password, his authorization object information, and also what authorizations he has. Okay. So now the system will say, oh, this guy is good. Let him log in. So now this guy logs in, right? This guy logs in. So we found out there are 3 layers in SAP environment. The first layer is presentation layer. The second layer is application layer. Third one is database layer. Okay. And apart from that, I am in Toronto and this one is in Ottawa. So how will I connect? I use internet. So there's another layer here, maybe there, that is internet layer. In this example, right? I should have minimum presentation layer, database layer, and the application layer. That's minimum. Internet layer, not necessary. If everything is in the same server, I have only these 3. Or if it is in the same network, I have only these things, right? If it is in the same network, then I don't have to use the router string.
Yeah.
It's not necessary, right? Then that can be left blank. And I told you, when this guy logged in, his information is coming from the hard drive. Hard drive is a mechanical device. It takes little time because the arm has to move and there's access time and all, right? So if suppose his information is in a buffer, database buffer, we can have a buffer here called database buffer. If the information is in the buffer, that will be very fast, very much faster, right? So if the user has logged in before and some time ago, the information could be there, his information could be there, right? Now that user logged in at 10 o'clock, right? And is he going to start working very fast? He's going to do like in milliseconds transactions like that? No. So that guy may be looking and talking to his friend, coming back, right? Or maybe doing something else, referring something, coming back. So the work process, is he going to wait for you? If each work process is waiting for one person, then if you have only 20 work processes, you can't support hundreds of people, right? So work process, he logged in and he wants to do some transactions.
So for my example, the work process support only for one user?
No, I'm going to tell you. So the person logged in and he started doing a transaction. For example, starting to create a user. When you create a user, there are multiple screens there. Because in the user creation SU01, the first screen, you have to type the name of the user. That is one screen. Then you have to say create, then another screen. And in that you have multiple tabs. You can give the password, you can set defaults, you can assign it to different profiles, you can assign it to different roles. All of them are different screens. So by the time he goes to all these screens and finishes transaction, it may take about 10 minutes, right? And is this guy going to wait for him? No. So after he comes, he logs in, oh, we are authenticated, finished. That guy may disappear. This guy can go and help another person, Tom. Right? So now this guy finished one of the tabs in the screen, and now he's pressing another tab, and he wants to go to the third tab. So the second tab should be saved temporarily. So then another work process should come and help him. So his one work is handled by multiple work process, not one work process. So multiple work process is handling a user's job, right? So that's called work process multiplexing. Work process multiplexing, okay? Because word process multiplexing is there, I am able to manage with small number of work process for large number of users. Okay? So even though I have 100 users, I can manage with about 10, 15, 20 work process, depending on how many times they are logging in, what is the work they are doing in the system, right? Depending on that.
Can we manage that work process by system?
Yeah, so you're asking a question whether we can increase the work process?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we, if so many people is logging to one work process, can we manage that work process to other? Can we do it?
Oh, no, we cannot manually assign work process. We can manually assign instances for people as a whole. We are assigned as a whole, not only one work process.
And we can do only instance. We can create
Assign another instance. If you feel that this instance is very busy, I saw this instance is hanging very, very busy, and the people are waiting, so we'll have to request them to log in through this instance. When I log in through an instance, I get a different environment, but my material code will be available in both when I log in? No, I will be accessing the same information. I told you in this office there are multiple doors. Yeah, you can come through any door, but you will be coming to the same place. So your name is Tom here. Your name is Tom. Your password works. So instance, nothing to do with your information. Your information is there, all information you created, material code, material number, everything is there. Roles you created, everything is there. Okay? Instance is just an entry point asset now for you. Okay? Right? But it just has many other meanings also, a lot of other things. Right? So you asked another question also, whether the number of work process, whether we can increase. Of course, we can increase. So what is the maximum number of work process I can have for dialogue? What is the maximum? 100. I mentioned in the last lesson. 100. What is the minimum I should have for dialogue? Minimum, what is the minimum? So dialogue is minimum 2. Maximum is 100. This amount is for an instance or for the entire SAP system?
For instance.
This is only for the instance.
Only for one
instance. So if you want more dialogue work process, what is the option you have? What is the option you have if you want more dialogue work process? What do you have?
One more
You add
instance.
more instances. Add more instances. If you want speed, then add more computers and then add the instance to there.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't mean you have to work with only 100. Right?
It can add more.
Anyway, keep on adding. It's clear, right?
Yeah.
Good. Then what is the minimum background work process you should have? Minimum background. Minimum.
2.
Minimum 1.
Okay.
Maximum 100. Maximum 100.
Minimum 1.
Yeah. School, what is the minimum? Minimum is? School minimum is 1. We don't need 100 for school, right? What are you going to do? School 1 is enough. Maximum 2 if you like, but 1 is enough.
Maximum also 1.
No, we don't say that. It's not applicable for school. Why do you need more, right? NQ work process minimum? NQ work process minimum? Minimum one. If you want to have two, you can have. Right? This one is for system, for the entire system, or for the instance?
Instance.
No, for the center instance.
No, my question, clearly. This one is for the entire SAP system or per instance?
For instance.
For entire system. Only one center instance will be the entire system.
Because NQ is for center instance, right? So this is per system. Okay? Spool is for the entire system or for one instance?
For entire system.
Entire system. Dialogue is for one instance or for the entire system 2 to 200? So in each instance. Background is also each instance. Update is for the entire system. Okay? Update we have minimum one, but by default we have two, but we should have minimum one. Okay? Minimum one, and we can have more, but by default we have two.
Update should be for each system.
Per system. We don't have update here. You can see immediately, right? We have only dialogue and background. So only dialogue and background per instance. All others are per system. That is the easy way to remember, right? Okay, I told you, users one particular data, one particular SAP transaction is handled by multiple dialogue work process. You understood that? Any doubt about that?
No.
No doubt. So now I am a work process. So I have loaded the user context into my memory. Okay, I have your user context in my memory, so I can help you. And also now you started working on that. I have that information also. Not only user context, you have been working on some items. So that items also in my memory now. So now I am leaving you and going. Then how can another work process come and help you? How? Because what about the items you are working on? That will disappear.
That instance have small memory. It stores in that memory.
Yeah, but the instance is not with you anymore. It is going away. It is going to help another guy. Then he doesn't carry your information. For another guy, then he doesn't have any space. And how that can help you? Because he said that the work process is helping another person, right? So, how to solve that problem?
Might be from the database.
Every time, no. Okay, user context, okay, when you say you're loading from database, okay, I understand, right? But what about the things I am working on? How are you going to get it back? You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I'm working on this table, I am making some vegetables curry or something, then I'm moving to another table. So what I should do?
Different instance.
So,
Pick it up.
I'm not talking about instant, I'm talking about dialogue process. So what I should do with these things in this dialogue process?
Take some buffer or? It's taking from buffer.
Okay. So what should happen is, I can't just carry this and put it in the other work process, because I don't know which work process is going to help me, right? So I will carry this and put it in a shared area. Shared memory. Then when another work process becomes available, then I take from the shared area and put it in the other work process. So user context, whatever I am working on will be going to the other work process. Simple, right? All logical. Nothing to memorize. Right? You understand the same way I explained. This covers about 30, 40 pages in your book.
Oh.
So I said, 40, 50 pages. When I cover basis, I cover in less than 60 hours. But some people can't cover in less than 60 hours, it takes a long time. You got to simplify. If you simplify and understand,
Step by step process.
yeah, so this, if you understand it the same way, then you won't forget also, and at the same time the course will finish very smoothly, fast. You don't waste your time. Right? So what happens is, I should have another area somewhere that is away from the work process or within the work process, the shared area.
Inside with should be memory. You said that.
Shared memory.
Yeah.
I'm talking about shared memory. I'm not talking about the memory which I use for processing. If I keep the shared memory also inside the work process, if it goes, it will take that also.
It should be
So shared
away,
memory should be
away from
outside the work process. So that is one component of the instance, right? So I have some memory here which is shared. It is used for that purpose only. Can I increase the shared memory, decrease the shared memory? Yes.
Yes.
There is a parameter for that. To increase the number of dialog work process, I told there is a parameter. To increase the shared memory, there is a parameter. To decrease also, there is the same parameter, right? So if this work process is leaving me, then it will take the memory, my context and whatever I am working on, the objects I am working on, and it will load here. Okay? Then the other guy is helping me, and that guy will load from here to that guy's work memory. Whoever guy is helping me, whatever dialog work process is helping me, right? This is called rollout, and this is called roll in. So roll out, roll in. Roll out and roll in, does it take some time?
Yes.
Yes, it takes time. We are not worried about roll out time, but we are worried about roll in time.
Rolling.
Because waiting to do processing. So if the rolling time is too much, I'd wait longer time to do processing. So this picture is becoming little complicated. Okay? It is going to be more complicated. So any questions so far?
ENQ stands for?
That is a different language maybe, but NQ is lock.
It's a lock.
If not, that is a work process which will help a record to be locked during an update. I am updating a record. So you also trying to update the record. What will happen? There can be corruption. So if I am trying to update a record, that record should be locked. Who is looking after that job? Who is looking after that job? That is NQ work process is looking after that job. Okay? So can you tell me all what I said now so that it will be like a revision for you? Whatever we discussed so far. Because I'm going to move to another screen, right? So we log in
We need
to an
a
instance.
name, SID.
Yeah, we need also host name, seed, then instance number and SAP router string to log in from the presentation layer, which we got from GUI by installing GUI. After installing GUI, we type SAP logon, a command called SAP logon, or there's a icon to click. Then we will be connecting to the SAP system, to the basis layer, which is run by web app and Java Gateway. Then we have a layer there, that's a layer called basis layer. The new name is web application server, right? So we will be sending our request will first go through the message service and reach the dispatcher. Message service will direct my request based on the load in these instances. Then when it comes here, then dispatcher will pass my information to a available work process. If a work process is not available, then my request will be on hold here in a buffer for some time. Right? When the available work process comes, my request will go. Then the work process has to process my information. It needs my context. Context means my login name, my password, and whatever I have been using before. So all those are loaded from the shared memory or from the database buffer or from the database, depending on my situation. Right? Then when it is loaded here, then the work process will check and then it will do the processing. My information loading from outside to here is called rolling. My information rolling out to the shared memory or any other place, mostly shared memory, is called rollout. Right? So I have a local memory here, so it can be processed there. That local memory has three areas: initial area, then the full area, okay, the balance part of the full area, and then we have another area called heap. Heap, if it is reached, then it is dangerous. Okay. Then also I said an instance is made up of dispatcher, work process, memory, and also it is made up of gateway service, which will help instance to talk to each other. Right? And when I take the central instance, this is the central instance, it has something called message service. We need only one central instance in a SAP system. SAP system can have many instances, right? And this instance is called application server, right? And central instance starts first and dialog instance starts second. When you are shutting down, we shut down the
application server first.
Dialog instance first and then the central instance, the other way, right?
So the message server should be only one for entire system?
Entire SAP system, only one.
One message server.
Okay. Then, so I remember in the case of central instance can run the SAP system on its own. That is the definition. Central instance is an instance which can run an SAP system on its own, right? And the difference between this and that is we have spool, enqueue, update in central instance. We don't have it in dialog instance. Another thing is we have message service, we don't have message service. We have only dialog and background, right? In both of them, we can have dialog from 2 to 100, background from 1 to 100, right? But others, we cannot have. So others are only for SAP system, the entire SAP system. Entire SAP system should have at least one enqueue, at least one spool, at least one update process. Usually we have two, it can be increased. Okay? We don't have to increase so much of enqueue work process. If you want to increase to 2 or 3, you can do that. Okay? And also like loading the information to the work process can be from shared memory as of now, because we introduced shared memory. That is during a database during the processing time, that is easier. From shared memory is very fast. What happens is I keep my information here and the local work process memory will have pointers to that. Using the pointers, the local the work process can access the information which is there. So it's very fast. Okay? Yeah. Otherwise it has to be loaded from the database buffer, which is also not bad. Otherwise it has to be loaded from the database, which is slow. Right? So we have database layer, which has the database of all the customers, but the users, materials, everything, all the data. And we have application server which does all the processing, and also all the applications are running on top of this. I have finance, finance, HR, MM, ST, all of them are running on top of this. So everything, users have to access that like this. The data for that is in the database. Right? Applications are there, the data is here. Okay? So these are the layers, and also we may have internet layer if you are doing across multi-brush networks. Okay? So this is clear. Okay? So we'll move to the next screen.
Sure, sir.
Yeah?
Just take a picture of this.
Wait. You want to take picture
Yeah.
of me? Right. No, I'm good. My picture is in your heart, right?
It's always this.
That's why it doesn't.
Picture. This is a base core structure.
Yeah, from this only you are going to develop. Your knowledge you will expand your knowledge based on this concept. How are you?
I'm writing something.
You know, this is really the base. Once you know this, then you can do it.